So, of course, 1:37 rolls around. I'm playing games and I can hear the knocking on my door. Number 1. Strange Happenings. This is a rather short story, however it is a bit strange. My friend and I, Wallace, were playing online and talking over Skype, like every other night. However, this night was different. When I went online, my friend wasn't on. I knew he would be on eventually, but in that short time period, which was only about 5 minutes, I felt like I was being watched, but I could not tell where from. This got creepier when my mom left and I was alone in my house, which we only moved into 6 months before this event. Now, I don't normally feel like this when I'm alone, so I was used to it, and I did not know what to do, but I remained calm until my friend Wallace got on. Then everything was fine again. We were gearing up and it was all good until I felt something twist my computer chair. I thought that it was my dog at first, but then I realized that my dog was not in my room with me. This honestly scared the heck out of me, as I have never experienced anything like that before. I tried to ignore what just happened, and I continued to game with my friend, although a bit aware of my surroundings after that. Everything was fine again until we reached the end of the session. The two of us were about to head offline, as it was close to midnight, and we both needed to get up early in the morning. As I was about to end the Skype call, I noticed that someone was in our Skype conversation with us. Someone who couldn't be there. Someone we did not add to the call. This is very, very strange, because as far as I know, people can't randomly just join calls. That doesn't even make any sense. I said quietly to my friend, "Let me call you back." I quickly ended the call and then called him back so that that other person wasn't in the call with us. And I said to him, "Did you see who was in our call?" He looked at me confused. He said no. Then we both checked our Skype screens for the recent calls. And lo and behold, that third person didn't appear. Then the most terrifying part happened. My friend suddenly asked me, "Why are you breathing so hard?" However, that wasn't me, because I was about to ask him the same thing. I still don't know what that sound was. To this day, I have no idea who it was or what I felt on my chair. After all of this, I have also had strange things happen around my house, such as laptops randomly being placed on my bed, even though no one else was home and I had just been using it. This has happened at least 3 times now in the last 9 months, and each new experience only creeps me out more. Number 2. The knocking on my bedroom door. I was 13 when this story took place. I live in the southeast of the UK, and I'm a bit of a hardcore gamer. This all started when I plugged my old Xbox 360 into my new TV. I decided to plug it in to play some old racing games, as I'm a bit of a car guy. I was sitting on my bed playing, which looks straight toward the TV, and it sits just to the right of my door. It's a really small room. Anyway, I was playing a game on the 360 when I heard someone knock at my door. I thought this was a bit odd, as my parents were in bed and they don't usually knock, so I stood up and went to check. I opened my very stiff door, and to my surprise, no one was there. That's creepy. I was thinking it may have been one of my dogs though, so I shut my door and went back to my Xbox. But I didn't know that this would happen for the next few nights. The same knock at the same time, me getting up and always thinking it may have been my dogs. Or maybe I'm not thinking it was my dogs, more like hoping. After a while of this happening, I decided to do an experiment. I wanted to know exactly what time it happened, and to see if the knocks sounded the same. 3 nights go by, and I see that it's always 1:37 in the morning, and it's always 2 faint knocks, one after the other, the first slightly harder than the second. About a week after it started, I went back to playing my Xbox, and I wanted to see what would happen if I kept my door open instead. I was very creeped out by this and a bit worried of what I might see, but I was curious and I had to know. So of course 1:37 rolls around. I'm playing games and I can hear the knocking on my door. I'm thinking my door is open. How could someone possibly be knocking on it? But this time it isn't 2 knocks. They're getting faster and more aggressive. But on this night, the knocking just keeps coming, louder and louder, until those banging sounds are deafening. I was petrified. What the heck was going on? I grabbed my phone to turn on the flashlight, and I pointed it at the door. The door was vibrating with every knock, but the moment 1:38 rolled around, everything stopped, and it became silent, and then my Xbox turned itself off. What was even scarier was the next day, my mother came downstairs in the morning. She asked me, "Why were you so loud last night with all that knocking?" So I wasn't the only one that heard it. It wasn't a nightmare, it was real. At this point, I was paranoid. I was thinking that maybe my Xbox was haunted or something. So I moved it out of my room, thinking that I don't want to be there when whatever it is figures out how to do more than just knock. Number 3. Call of Duty Creep. To begin this story, I need to say that I am a girl. I've been playing video games for as long as I can remember. As an only child to a very busy single parent, it was all my mother could think to do to keep me occupied. My mom started me off with a Nintendo Entertainment System, and after that, whenever a new console came out, I would beg for it until I got it. I was 16 when this story took place. I'm now 25. I was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare on Xbox Live. As you can imagine, being a female online, I'm pretty used to people being creeps once they hear me speak. Nowadays, I stay in a private chat with friends, or I mute myself when playing with random people. I don't really like to deal with that sort of thing, or be mistaken for a 9-year-old boy. This story happened before I learned any tricks to avoid this, and this was the only time that someone really crossed the line with me. It may not be incredibly creepy, but it is the weirdest thing that's happened to me on Xbox Live. While attempting to communicate with my team, I caught the attention of one of my teammates, who sent me a friend request. I accepted the request because we had played a really good game, and we were getting along pretty well in the voice chat. Shortly after I accepted his request, he sent me a message. I opened it, and it was a voice message. An older man, my guess would be in their 30s or 40s, and it simply said, "Hey." I replied, "Hey, what's up?" We made a little bit of small talk after that. He asked me a few questions, but nothing that really seemed strange to me, until finally, he mentioned that he thought that I had a nice voice. Here we go, I thought, and I replied with a simple, "Thanks." He replied quickly. "Do you like to listen?" he asked. I was confused by this weird question. "Listen to what?" I asked. "To a guy," he answered quietly. I was still confused, so again I replied, "I don't know what you mean." And a few moments went by when he replied, "You know, do you like to listen when a guy takes care of himself?" As he was saying this, in the voicemail, I could hear him breathing in and out quickly and heavily. I took a moment to process what I had just heard. I replied to his message eventually in disgust. "No, God, no." A few moments went by and he replied, and in his reply he was laughing, and he said, "Oh well, it can't hurt to ask, right? Maybe you'll get used to it if we did it in person." I was thoroughly creeped out at this point, so I blocked the guy. He never tried to contact me again, most likely because my profile shares very little information about me, other than my first name, and I'm very thankful for that.